Shavella Greenway, Module 8, Final Evaluation. I'm here with my mentor, Miss Buxton, Special Ed Great Guru. And we are here to do the standards 1 through 10.
All right. In review of Ms. Greenway's most recent upload, I noticed that she was quick to provide scholars with immediate feedback as they worked through the problem or they were thinking about the responses. She made many references to the anchor chart above on the wall and helping them to formulate answers, especially for like the fluency effect. She was able to reach for those, as well as for the literacy portion. In the second half of the video, there were anchor charts up as well that students could use to help refresh their memory. I noticed that there was a great deal of use of manipulative. Students were able to use counters, specifically the blocks, which I know that first student you were working with, that's one of his favorite things to use. Are the blocks, and that way it wasn't a distraction. He was able to use it as a tool, but it was also something that he wanted to use. I noticed throughout the video, I think at least twice, you collaborated with some of your colleagues to gain insight or further direction as to is this the right pathway, because with scholars, because they're children, things happen. Like, so today maybe you might know something that I don't know that maybe have happened or transpired at recess or prior to them coming to me. And since we all work as a team in the special ed department, that's very helpful and very important. It's so important to have peers that you can work with and talk to and not have to wait for like a formalized meeting in order to get things to go across, because the kids can't wait, you know. I noticed that you use several types of priority thinking questions. You use level 1, level 2, and level 3, which not only are just like yes, no, open-ended questions, but you also will probe them to think, like using inference, like going beyond, like, well, what if we tried this? What would be the difference? Not necessarily just trying to find a correct answer, but also just broadening their scope or the depth of thought. I like how you gave the students options. Being able to choose, like, well, would you like to do this one or that one, so that they feel like they have control over their decisions or what's impacting their life right now. And although technically you get to pick what their options are, them being able to feel like they had some part in you giving them an option, even though you had the options. I like how you were able to differentiate the students' needs based on the IEP supports page, which you could tell throughout the lesson. You were able to be like, okay, well, let's do this one, or pulling in different things from the student supports page, which was very obvious. You didn't stick to one method of doing something, although you were consistent in your delivery, you were consistent in your approach to the child. You still made sure you hit those different points based on how he was moving or how he was receiving the lesson as it was being given. I like that you were able to give him that one-on-one attention, because I've seen him in a group setting, and sometimes being able to do it one-on-one, he doesn't have to have those attention-seeking behaviors because he has the attention he needs, so he's able to actually get his work done and not go home with another incomplete assignment. So I appreciate that, and I'm sure his mom does too. I like how you acknowledged, supported, there's a word I'm looking for, I can't think of it, but as a student was counting using the tally marks or manipulative, you made a point to count it out loud as they were counting, so that they had reassurance of, okay, this is where I'm at. Because, you know, sometimes when you count tally marks, they don't always cross out the fifth one. They just keep drawing marks, and you know you might lose your place. So you count out loud provided that that reassurance, so that he could keep going until he got to what he needed. I like how that also reminds me of the I do, you do. I mean, I do, we do, you do. Being able to scaffold, so like you would start off, and then your voice got quieter and quieter and quieter, and then he was speaking. And then also
gradual release. I didn't know,
you know,
sometimes you be doing it and you really don't realize
you don't pay mind.
Yeah, you make it such a habit in your everyday routine. Okay, cool.
It's almost like when you teach a child to ride a bike, you know how you holding on, they're like, don't let go. You be like, okay, and you just walking along with them, but you're not holding on anymore. Yeah, but they still feel like your presence.
That is gradual release in a sense, isn't it? Because at first you holding on,
And they
then you let it go a little bit.
Still close, and then they realize they by themselves.
And you take the training wheels off and push them on. That's gradual release. You never do that. Even in parenting, we're gradual. We're doing gradual. I never thought of it either.
I like how you provided reassurance for his sensory and social needs. Like when he said, because like some people have an aversion to touch, especially when they have autism. But for this particular scholar, he needed that reassurance that his neck was not broken. And so he was like, well, let's test it out. Let's see. Because sometimes I know the heavy blanket doesn't always work for him. So sometimes the heavy blanket doesn't work. And so you being able to provide him that reassurance of like, no, you're not broken. And when he said something was boring, you're like, oh, okay, well, let's see if we can go ahead and do this part. And then we get to the fun. Like, let's make this fun, you know? I like how you reword what he said by using the academic vocabulary. So he said, let's do something you like. Oh, okay, so we'll use the sum, or we'll use you use the academic vocabulary, which I appreciate, because as he continues to matriculate through school, that vocabulary is going to be necessary. Because even if you know how to do it, if you don't know what it's called when you see it or read the directions for it, your answer not going to be correct, whether it's reading or math assignment. You showed that you understood how children develop, how they learn and grow. You met him where he was. You met the group, the small group that you had as well. You met them where they were. They were excited. They were literally jumping up and down trying to respond and participate. So you understand how students develop and where they are, and how to incorporate your knowledge, your skills, based on the standards as to how you can make the two mesh. So your knowledge of the standards, the skills, and what the students need, and then your knowledge of how children develop, grow, and process. And combining those two, you were able to complete a lesson where the students were engaged or active. You got to share feedback. They were able to engage with one another, engage with you. And then their output showed you that not only were they just participating, but they actually learned something, you know, that they'll be able to use in other lessons going forward, or to continue to build a foundation for their academics. I appreciate how you created a beautifully positive learning environment. The students felt warm, they felt welcome. They didn't feel like afraid, like even the first scholar, he wasn't afraid to tell you when he was bored or he was feeling something. He didn't just keep it to himself and start stimming. He was actually able to express to you. He felt comfortable with you, so he knew that was a safe place. When you asked him, would you like to do this one first or that one, or do you want to use these? You want me to repeat that? He was able to answer you because he knew it was a safe environment. And when you had the small group, the students were able to talk out loud. They raised their hand. If somebody spoke, it wasn't like an out of turn speak, because it was a group activity and they were working together, but because they were used to the understanding that you're supposed to raise their hand, still jumping with excitement to participate. And so I really like to see that enthusiasm that the students were, and it wasn't just happy enthusiasm, it was like purposeful. Like it had a place, it aligned with what you were doing. And the energy bouncing around the room also allowed the other kids to feed into a like, I want to participate, I want to do this. So I think, and sometimes kids learn better from other children. So them seeing you respond and react, like, oh, okay, so this is what she's looking for. Let me see if I can get some, you know, feed into that as well. And so all of them were able to participate. Nobody felt left out. So I think you did well to exhibit all of the standards as written. And I think in some areas you were able to actually go beyond what was written on the paper and excel to a point where I feel like you've been this should have been what you've been doing for so long. And it shows that you care and have compassion for the scholars. And you can tell that you take time to work out with your colleagues and stuff like that, and build relationships with them so that you have a safe place to go to, they have a safe place to go to. And as we bounce ideas between one another, we're able to get the best out of our scholars and also the best out of ourselves.
Okay. Well, Ms. Buston, I really appreciate you being my mentor and giving me the feedback and really doing the work. And thank you.
You're welcome. And I want to say MC Hammer Dance because you made it fun singing the songs for the baby.
All right. Thanks, guys. Peace.